The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. Coming up on House Hazards.
Car airbag.
The team crash tests a microwave. Francesca gives an explosive lesson in art.
That's one way to paint a canvas.
And a bedroom takes a bath.
Drop it! All right, here it comes!
Home, sweet home. Well, not as sweet as you might think. Your house is really out to get you. There are thousands of hazards hiding in every home, and our team of experts will separate the fiction from the facts so you can avoid domestic meltdown. Scientist Francesca will expose the hidden dangers lurking in every home. Engineer Dan will show you how everyday appliances can turn from labor-saving to life-threatening. And special effects expert Brendan will recreate the worst-case scenario. Everyone enjoys the luxury of a nice, relaxing bath. But behind the walls and beneath the floor of this oasis lies the potential for a real disaster.
We've all heard stories about a bathtub crashing through the floor. What we're going to test today is how hazardous a situation is this really?
It sounds like a freak accident, but it's a recurring one. Every year, there's at least one news report of an unsuspecting victim who draws a bath only to travel with their tub through the floor the minute they step in. And their prime suspect is water damage, a problem that costs homeowners $11 billion a year in the U.S.
Brendan, I'm getting close here. It's gonna overflow.
Well, that's the hope, so keep going.
Full and occupied, a bathtub is like an 800-pound anvil suspended in midair. And all that's holding it up are joists and beams that, if damaged, could threaten the lives of whomever's in the tub, as well as any unsuspecting people sitting below.
They're doing something hazardous without me. I'm very upset. What are you guys doing?
We're trying to simulate rot to try and recreate a scenario where a bathtub would fall through the ceiling.
You guys are gonna be here forever. Do you realize how long it takes for the wood to rot? We need to see what the beams look like to figure out how much actual support this thing has.
All right, let's get to work.
Water can begin to damage a home within 48 to 72 hours. But an average bathroom like this one is built to support more than 2,000 pounds, meaning it could take months, years, or even decades to turn deadly.
Oh, and careful, Dan, she sprays everywhere.
Yeah, you're spraying me right now.
What the team doesn't know is how bad the damage already is, and if there are any other factors making this hazard more likely.
Cobweb.
As soon as the wall's exposed, the team spots examples of questionable construction.
They did compromise these joists by putting the pipe through it.
But if you look here, this bathtub is supposed to be screwed through into these joists, and it's not.
Most people believe a tub is only held up by what's underneath. But a bathtub, properly constructed and installed, is supported from below and from the sides, sharing the load. If one support goes away, that doubles the load on the other. With nothing but putty attaching the bathtub to the wall, all the weight is on the joists below. And if those are in poor condition, then this bathtub could well be on its way to disaster.
Now we're taking up the subfloor, so we know what we have to do to put this tub through the floor. Huh. What do you think?
This does not look good.
Looks like it's time for a serious investigation. But first, the hazard team is mixing it up with one of the kitchen's most dangerous appliances.
You both get a blender, because today we're going to explore which is worse, blender splash or blender chop.
Blender chop!
And the splash.
Blenders are one of the kitchen's most powerful tools of convenience, but they've also sent 40,000 North Americans to the ER over the last 14 years. The Hazard starts with the sharp metal blades. Spinning at speeds of up to 38,000 RPM, they can chop and shred anything put inside. Above the blades is the pitcher, which helps circulate the blender's contents. But if the lid is missing, there's nothing to stop what's inside from splashing out. So, which one causes more harm? Blender chop or blender splash? Putting your hand inside a blender is a foolish thing to do. But when ice or a kid's toy ends up creating a jam, some people think it's a good idea to use their hands to get the blades going again.
You jammed this thing and you put your hand in there to try and get it loose. Before you know it, you'll have lost the digits on your hand.
To recreate this dismemberment, Brendan is stuffing the blender with toys, a familiar scene for those with toddlers running around. But instead of a child's hand, Brendan is using a pig's foot.
Because this simulates a human hand, the flesh and the bone, and you'll see what kind of damage this blender can really do. That seems properly jammed.
Sure, the spinning blades of a blender are dangerous, but everybody knows not to put their hand in it, or at least to turn off the power before you do. I'm gonna start heating up my soup.
Meanwhile, Dan is cooking up some hot soup he plans to puree. And that, too, is the beginning of a horrific hazard.
People always forget to put the lid on properly on a blender, and it splashes everywhere.
If that splash is hot enough, anyone peeking in to check if the soup's done could end up with a third-degree burn, scarring them for life. Exactly why Dan's using a gelatin head instead of his face. It melts at the same temperature as human skin, 60 degrees Celsius, which Dan's soup is almost up to.
Guys, can we bring in the protective glass? Let's put it right here. That's all the way. We're putting up a sheet of clear plastic to protect Dan and I when we run this, because we don't want to get hit by glass shrapnel or hot flying soup. Thanks, guys. That's great. That's perfect. Hey, Dan, how you coming?
Soup's coming along. Hot stuff. Now all I've got to do is fill my blender with soup and turn it on.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
I've got this trigger. I'm gonna make both machines go at the same time. Then we'll see what happens to our pig's foot and our gelatin head. Let's do this. In 3, 2, 1.
Brendan and Dan have set up their blenders and are ready to test which is worse. Injuries caused by a blender's spinning blade or the scalding hot liquids that get put inside.
You ready, Dan?
Yes, sir.
In 3, 2, 1.
Face got splashed.
It's easy to see how quickly a blender can turn into a devastating hazard. In only milliseconds, the blade severs the outer flesh and tendons of the pig's foot. The same blades instantly create a vortex which carries the soup up so fast, no one would have a chance to get out of the way.
That's what happened to my pig's foot. If this had been your hand, you would be very unhappy.
Well, if you have a look here, you see that the gelatin head got hit straight on by some really boiling hot soup. And it started to actually melt the gelatin head, which means if this was your face, you'd have third-degree burns.
All right, what do we have here?
You've got almost severed digits and third-degree burns.
Oh my gosh.
You can see some of those are pretty deep.
Though both are hazardous in their own way, I've got to declare Brendan the winner on this one. If that was your hand, your fingers would be shredded to nothing.
Whether you're inspecting soup or have a hand in the blender, it doesn't take a lot of brain power to avoid these injuries by making sure the lid is on or the power is off. But for a child who doesn't know better, it wouldn't take much to get burned or lose a finger.
The proof is in the pig's foot.
But some hazards aren't quite so obvious, even if they're equally terrifying. The Hazard team is on the hunt for signs their bathtub is ready to fall through the floor. They don't like what they've found so far.
This bathtub is supposed to be screwed through into these joists, and it's not.
The only thing holding up the tub is the floor, and if it's in the same shape as the wall, it's in trouble.
This does not look good at all.
You can see when they ran this pipe, they've cut through and compromised these floor joists.
You can see all around the tub, the water has soaked through time and time again.
Basically, every time your bathtub overflows, you don't realize it, but in that water, it's actually going into your floor and it's starting to make that rot.
You know, and you can see it's cracked here.
Worse than that, this one actually split and it runs for about 10 feet of split. That is a really, really weak beam.
We can say that without us doing anything yet, this is not a good scene.
With all these problems, it's only a matter of time until this tub puts someone's life in jeopardy. But the team wants to know what happens when it does.
So, can we help it along a little bit?
Let's just fast forward.
And by fast forward, Francesca means years of water damage, so our dummy can get his last splash. The situations portrayed in this program are very dangerous. They have been performed by trained professionals in order to replicate worst-case scenarios of real-life hazards. Viewers should not, under any circumstances, attempt to replicate any of the situations presented in the program. We often wonder if something is hazardous, but that's not the case with the microwave, an appliance that 90% of us own. Deep down, we all think it's a little dangerous.
The microwave. Some consider it to be the largest convenience ever introduced to the kitchen. But if you put something in the microwave you shouldn't, you can have a very hazardous situation.
A microwave oven heats food up by shooting electromagnetic radiation through it, exciting its molecules, which release their energy as heat, warming up your dinner.
Eggs.
Eggs. Thank you.
But if the energy gets trapped, like a steaming egg inside its shell, eventually it will find a way out.
Oh!
Any way it can.
Ooh!
Parents worry that microwaves are potential killers because of outcomes like this. But Brendan and Dan are about to prove that the real danger isn't the microwave, it's what people, either for fun or out of sheer stupidity, decide to put in it.
Some light bulbs.
All right.
Brendan and Dan are planning to push the limits of what shouldn't go into a microwave.
Pop them all in.
All right, pop them all in. A whole bunch. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Start cooking. I think they're all going.
It's like Christmas.
Inside the fluorescent bulbs, the microwaves are exciting the mercury vapor, causing them to illuminate.
You smell that?
I do.
That's dangerous. Turn it
All right,
off. Let's go.
What was the smell?
We definitely had some ozone that was created anytime that metal arcs in a microwave.
And is that poisonous?
Yes. If one of the compact fluorescents broke, those little twirly ones, we could have been inhaling some mercury vapors.
That would be bad.
Yes.
It's obvious to most that light bulbs in a microwave is a bad idea. But it's surprising how often the wrong thing finds its way inside a microwave, like aluminum foil.
I want to see the potatoes next.
Baked potato.
Baked potato.
Tin foil?
Tin foil.
Can't bake a potato without tin foil.
Metal is often used inside food packaging, which many people overlook. It's a mistake that contributes to 5% of all cooking fires.
How many do you want to put in?
I want to put in like a good half dozen.
I'm down with that. In. 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, go.
Yes!
Well, that didn't take long. Did you see the plasma?
Oh,
Whoa.
there's one. That in the corner there is actual plasma trapped.
Molecules of metal are densely packed in a solid state. Like food, they gain energy from microwaves, but they are unable to move, forcing energy to build up. This superheats the metal and converts it to plasma, the hottest and most dangerous state of matter. Believe it or not, this is the same reaction that takes place on the sun.
So, baked potatoes wrapped in tin foil are meant for the barbecue, not the microwave. Do you want to put something else in?
Definitely.
We've seen that some objects in the microwave can cause sparks and flame, but how about an explosion? For that, Brendan has an over-the-top plan to show what it would really take to make something like this happen.
What took you so long?
Car airbag.
What? Okay, you want to put an airbag inside the microwave.
Yes, I do.
You know, this packs a mean punch.
Yeah.
Microwaves only explode when explosive materials are put inside. and the airbag uses a small charge to inflate its contents. Brendan is hoping sparks from the metal will be enough to detonate this device, just like it would in a car.
We don't know where the door is going to go. We don't know where the microwave is going to go. So this is my remote control finger.
You, sir, are an artist. All right?
Excellent.
All right, airbag's in.
Are you ready?
Ready?
On three?
On three.
3, 2, 1.
That microwave's completely deformed. The entire cage has been ruptured.
It only took 11 seconds to trigger the explosion, but when it did, the airbag expanded at 200 miles an hour. And this is where the true danger of a microwave lies. When you put something explosive inside, it's like putting a match to a stick of dynamite. Back in the bathroom, the team is making the final preparations needed to crash their bathtub through the floor and learn how hazardous this can be. Once compromised, it's impossible to know how much this floor can hold.
This does not look good at all.
And at close to 800 pounds when full, the bathtub is the most dangerous place a person can be. One step inside could be all it takes to break the beams once and for all.
We are simulating years and years of poor workmanship and water damage by attacking every single support to that bathtub. When you spill a little bit of water on your bathroom floor or when you cut through a joist, most people don't think about it, but you could be adding up to a very hazardous scenario.
With the beams ready to snap, there's still one more element necessary to make this hazard a real possibility. Someone needs to take a bath.
Yeah, we're hanging him by his neck.
The team is rigging the mannequin to a quick release so they can easily send him into the compromised tub from a safe distance.
More weight.
Saddled with 200 pounds, the mannequin now weighs as much as an everyday person.
The worst part of the scenario is that not only is the bathroom hazardous, but whatever room is below is also in great danger. If you had somebody sleeping down here or maybe kids playing, you've got 600 pounds of metal tub that is about to crash through the ceiling. Very hazardous.
To stay ahead of the curve, artists are always looking for ways to stand out. And Francesca is going to demonstrate one colorful method of exploding onto the scene. Accounting for 19% of all aerosol injuries in the US, spray paint is the most dangerous aerosol product on the market. It's dangerous in two ways. Its contents are under pressure, and those same contents are flammable. So when put beside a heat source like a stove or a radiator, this simple can might just turn into a grenade. As the paint heats up, the gas is expanding inside, looking for a way out. And Francesca's hoping for a bullseye. Total destruction. If this was in someone's hand when it exploded, it would definitely be their last masterpiece.
That's one way to paint a canvas.
Hovering over the bathtub hangs a 200-pound mannequin, ready to recreate a hazard homeowners pray never happens to them.
You might want to stand back from the tub just a little bit. Yeah, we kind of compromised the subfloor.
And just like a person slipping into a bath, the mannequin will be the extra weight needed to send our bathtub through the floor.
When that bathtub goes, I don't want to be in the bathroom and I definitely don't want to be underneath the bathtub. I'm gonna be in the room, but I'm gonna be over there.
Dan, you ready?
Yeah, drop it!
All right, here it comes. And 3, 2, 1, go! Well, that works.
I think it worked!
You think?
Yeah! If I'd been standing here, I'd be dead.
Did the tub fall through straight or did it turn on an angle right away?
The ceiling held it for a millisecond and then just vomited all over the room.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you can see all the water damage in the drywall.
That's electrical.
And this electrical that I've been very much avoiding. This cut clean through and we've got a live wire sticking in our bedroom. That is a very big hazard.
This happens. People remove retaining walls. They run the plumbing the wrong way.
Maintain the structural integrity in your home and don't let shoddy handymen cut through your beams.
I'm confident I will never take a bath again, especially not in this house.